Sleepless in Seattle, falling in love without meeting. Putting the two characters in a fairy tale, the classic romantic comedy Sleepless in Seattle captivates viewers with the pure and sincere beauty of love. After the death of his wife, Sam, Tom Hanks, buried himself in loneliness and sleepless nights. The faithful man just wants to be a responsible single father. Meanwhile, Jonah, Ross Malinger, his son, plays all sorts of tricks to help his father find a new life partner. On Christmas Eve, Jonah calls the radio, tells about the life of father and son and forces Sam to speak up about his life. Driving alone on the street leaving a party with her parents and fiancée, Annie, Meg Ryan, chooses a radio columnist for entertainment. Just then, Sam's phone call rang on the air. It was a million little jingles. The first time I met her, it felt like home but not the house I knew. I held her hand. It felt like magic, the widow said. Embarrassed father remembers the day he fell in love with his late wife. His voice was as warm as a whisper. The words are simple but full of love. Not knowing who the man was and where, Annie only knew that in a moment, her heart had fallen without the other parties flirting. For many days, Annie tried to get herself out of the adultery in her mind but failed. She managed to get Sam's address, handwritten letters, and mailed them to his home in Seattle, a city a few hours by plane from where she lived. The two main characters of Sleepless in Seattle live in two cities, don't know each other, but fall in love with each other's voices over the radio and through handwritten letters. Photo, TriStar Pictures. Falling in love at first sight has long been the norm in cinema, but falling in love even before meeting like a character in Sleepless in Seattle is a rare occurrence. If Sam said he felt a million tinkles of joy in his mind in the first minutes of falling in love with his dead wife, then Annie also encountered the jingle vibrations no different, in the moment. Listen to him talk about love and marriage. Overcoming the attraction by looks and background knowledge, the feeling of attraction to Annie spontaneously and unconsciously, elicited by the sameness in mind. Listening to Sam talk for a few short minutes had a profound effect on Annie, making her love each other day and night. The whole movie, the two main characters only appear in the same frame in 3 scenes. They actually pass each other twice and have only a dialogue at the end of the movie. However, Annie's life was always shaken by the unknown figure. From Sam's side, he didn't care at first but gradually noticed this strange girl. And ever since, he caught a strange feeling when reading letters from afar. The love between Sam and Annie is full of fairy tales and somewhat far from reality. But watching the movie, people feel the sincerity of the two characters for each other and for each relationship they have. In his heart, Sam is still nostalgic for his deceased wife but also longs for a happy couple and a new home for his son. Every night in the wooden house by the river, he silently gazes at the sky and struggles between loving choices. Falling in love with a stranger while being a soon-to-be married girl, Annie is ashamed of herself. But the more she tried to pull away, the deeper she fell into this relationship. Trying to cover everything up in front of her boyfriend, but the more she hides her head, the more open her tale becomes. The journey of all kinds of tragic stories taught her to be fair with her heart. The two characters have never thought of giving up their nameless love to return to their original life. But then, fate once again arranged for them to face each other. The best part of the Sleepless in Seattle script is that it constantly puts the character in a situation of choose your heart or listen to your reason. Meanwhile, the narrator, the writer and the director, keeps a neutral attitude, not judging right or wrong for their behavior. The young Meg Ryan has a sweet, muse-like beauty, subtly expressing the vibrations of the role of Annie. Photo, TriStar Pictures. The way the characters get to know each other through radio waves and letters conveys simplicity and sincerity. Especially after 3 decades looking back, things that are no longer common in the 4.0 era give the film a nostalgic look, bringing viewers back in time to the old years. At a time when the connection between people could not be as quick and convenient as now, the fact that people find ways to meet each other and exchange sincere words with each other is more precious. Sleepless in Seattle has a rom-com style, romantic comedy, typical of Hollywood in the 1990s, with a gentle sound, a charming comedy that has not become superficial and obscene like many movies of the same genre. After that, released in 1993, Sleepless in Seattle grossed $227.8 million despite the investment budget of only $21 million. Nearly 30 years have passed, the work has always been named in the top of the best rom-com movies and has been included in the list of suggested movies by international newspapers every Christmas and New Year. According to Screen Rant, Sleepless in Seattle conquered the audience with its touching script, interesting journey of pursuing love and the thought of children seeking happiness for their parents. The scene where the male and female protagonists come face to face on top of the Empire State Building in the middle of New York has become one of the most memorable scenes in 20th century cinema. This film and this scene inspired Northern cinema. Kin Meets Seattle starring Thang Do and Ngo 2Ba.